Hey, all you midlife women out there. Are you ready to step into spicy confidence? If the answer is yes, then we have some exciting news to share.
We are launching a one-on-one coaching program for midlife women who want to start showing up as the most confident version of themselves and who aren't afraid to go after what they really want.
This coaching program will help you discover your voice, embrace your desires, and develop your inner confidence so that you can truly live the authentic life you want without holding back.
There are only 3 spots available, ladies, so head to the link in the show notes and apply now. Now let's get into the episode.
This episode is all about unlearning the good girl mentality after 50.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think that means, Julie?
You know, about being agreeable and accommodating and not really expressing how you feel about things.
That's the good girl mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have a time this week? We were talking a little bit about the unlearning of the good girl mentality and really what that means. And we were asking each other if we could think of a time recently where we decided to do that, like ditch the good girl mentality.
Well, you had a great example.
I did. I was thinking about, so the other night I was over at some friend's house. We were gathered around a campfire and we were doing some party planning, and all of a sudden it was getting really complicated. The party planning was getting complicated, and I was just sitting there kind of over it. And like the good girl mentality in me, when we talk about the good girl mentality, it would have been me just keeping my thoughts to myself as opposed to speaking up and asking questions and like, why are we talking about this stuff? Why can't we just plan the party and invite the people? That's kind of what I was saying. Why do we have to accommodate every fucking body? I said that too, because we were trying to, think about all these things that we had to do,
And they were trying to kind of accommodate
people
with children and people at
and neighbors and pets and different things like that. And I was just over it. Now, the good girl mentality, really even not long ago, but I would say, in years previous, I would have just quietly been agreeable and,
and then not been available when the planning
gone along with it. And I wasn't.
Yeah.
That's where I was thinking about it. I was like, I guess I have kind of ditched in some ways and in some circumstances that good girl mentality. And, I spoke up.
Yeah.
I really said what was on my mind. Now, what I didn't do, because in my mind, I saw myself walking away.
Yeah.
And
mic drop.
Saying my piece. Yeah, pretty much. Mic drop and I'm out. But I didn't do that. So maybe I'm not completely there, but it was close.
Yeah. I think I've ditched a lot of them already. We were talking about that. And some of it, I balance this out with, there's kind of a time and a place I found for different things. And I think about a woman being poised and like displaying confidence and being able to share what's on her mind. And sometimes as a person who is kind of shedding that mentality, saying nothing might be appropriate. In this particular circumstance, that wasn't the case.
Right.
But it's like when I find that I'm in that place where I'm like, you people are making me fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And I'll just say, you know what? This really doesn't make any sense. Or I'm not very polished sometimes about the way I approach some of those things. And I've had to get better about that over time.
I can attest to that.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes things come out and you don't really mean it to sound as bitchy as it does, but it does sound bitchy. And you're like, oh shit, that's not how I meant that. Because you don't want to hurt someone's feelings or whatever. But there are different aspects to that, I think, that we can talk about.
Yeah. And I do agree though with the silence sometimes is the better way to go. Sometimes it says a lot more.
Yeah.
But anyways, in talking about the good girl mentality, to Julie's point, it is about women and how often we tend to be the agreeable ones. Right. Avoiding the conflict, like she said, prioritizing other people.
Yeah, huge.
All the time before we do that for ourselves.
And that's such a habit, you guys, that we don't even realize sometimes that we're doing it. That's what we think about first, So putting yourself first sometimes.
And our desires. Yeah. Shrinking those.
Yeah.
Making them smaller so that we can accommodate, things that are going around, around us and others and what they want.
Yeah.
So, And I think it's especially like that for women over 50 because of the generational expectations that are there for women now that are, that Gen X age.
Yep.
And
it's kind of like we need to be wearing some of this stuff with kind of a little badge of pride, though.
Yeah.
Because you think about how we've grown up, the things that we've put up with, the things that we didn't even know we didn't know, no social media, all that kind of stuff. And now we're in a world where, everybody has an opinion that they're providing on something or another.
Yeah.
And we have to kind of, I don't know, with me, I'm kind of picking and choosing on the things that I want to convey my personal message on. Because if I did it on everything, then my message probably wouldn't have as much weight. Especially with the people that I'm around. If I was always giving them my opinion on stuff.
Sometimes there's, that being labeled difficult or being too much.
Yeah.
Can go along with that.
Well, and we were talking about that before. It's like, I have definitely felt that before where it's like, I am just way more than this person can handle. And I'm not saying that in a way where I'm like all that in a bag of chips. That's not what I'm saying. Yeah. It's just more that my personality or the way that I would approach something was overpowering. And perhaps it's because, they're much more introverted or much more timid on a specific topic or something. It doesn't mean they're not strong people. Just, they're keeping their mouths shut for whatever reason. And, I always want to stick up for the bad guy not stick up for the bad guy, stick up for the good guy or, the underdog, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I would, of course, be out there doing that.
Well, and I think so let's talk about some of the things as far as the unlearning part, right? I think one of the things that it takes to be able to do that is rewriting some of those internal rules that we have.
Yeah.
Right.
So examples of that would be like, we don't want to make anyone else feel uncomfortable, or we don't want to ask for too much, or we don't want to take up space. That's definitely not one of mine, but you know what I mean? It's like, you don't want to have to be the person that everybody's like catering to in a room or what have you. So other people don't get time and attention with, the host or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. And those are the things we're used to. So when it comes to rewriting those rules, and I'm just going to go back to the example that I shared,
right.
I probably did make some people uncomfortable as we were, I knew
But you know what, Michelle? You probably did, but at the same time, you were probably saying something out loud that someone else was thinking.
Actually, yeah, probably. Yeah.
And they're like, right on. I'm glad Michelle said something. Because I didn't want to say it.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing.
But that's kind of what we're talking about, rewriting those internal rules. Like, okay, this might make some people uncomfortable. And this can go with friends. This can go with families. This can go in the workplace, in relationships, all kinds of different.
It's the boundary, really.
Different settings. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we've talked about boundaries before, but it's really about kind of honing in on what your quote boundary is around a specific thing.
Yeah.
And dropping, what you're quote supposed to do. I keep saying quote unquote, like my little air quotes.
Air quotes.
Yeah. I have a huge hard time with the word supposed to and should. I have a big problem with the word should because I use it. It's not like I haven't used it myself, but I'm very conscious of what I do with that word because that is putting my expectations on someone else or societal expectations on someone else.
Yeah.
And then that person who's trying to drop whatever that good girl activity is or the way they respond to something feels guilty or feels like they're getting the pressure to conform in a certain way. And that's what I believe that does.
The should.
Yeah.
The should word.
The should word. It's like a 4-letter word that's more than 4 letters.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that is a pet peeve of yours for sure.
Yeah. And I really should get over it.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, rewrite some of those rules. Think about what some of those things might be.
Yeah.
It's okay. Really, it's okay if somebody is uncomfortable by something that you maybe are expressing.
Yeah.
It's okay because, if it's not okay, why is it okay for you to have the internal anxiety about what you're not saying?
Exactly.
So it just flip the script.
But see, that's the benefit and the kind of blessing of that experience and getting older.
Yeah.
And seeing what it feels like from another perspective, like over the course of time. And you're just like, I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, let's talk about desire too. I mean, that's another way to kind of put this in here. Good girls, especially Catholic girls. Oh, they're talking about something else. You know, we suppress desire, and grown women who have kind of come into themselves, they own it. They own the desire. That's not to say this isn't a sexual thing. I know I made a joke about being Catholic, but it's really more about kind of learning what works for you and feeling okay with stepping outside of what you've been taught.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of that is taught behavior, learned behavior.
Yes.
The way you respond to things, the way that you choose to carry yourself, you know, in a situation. Yeah. Those are all things we've learned, you know, over time.
Yep.
And so when we are grown, and I'm not just talking about age, I'm talking about maturity on a certain topic, or experience, I should say, maybe on a certain topic. You kind of come into the point where, you know, I'm not having the most popular opinion, but it's my opinion and I own it whether people don't like it or not.
Yeah.
That is more of a grown woman's response, I would think, to something that's controversial.
Yeah, that's the unlearned good girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
So another way with regard to this is, I know this is going to sound weird, but practice disappointing people.
Yeah.
I know that sounds mean, almost in a way, and it will rub people the wrong way when you hear that, you know, practice disappointing people. What does that look like?
Yeah. Well, do you feel like in the back of your mind, does the word selfish come up? Like when you hear things like that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, selfish.
When I think of, you know, women asserting their independence, I think sometimes it comes across as them being, you know, selfish, you know, because they are putting themselves first. And it's like, and we talk about putting yourself first, putting your ideas for whatever it is. And I can totally see how people would be hesitant about that, especially around people that support them and that they, you know, their family, their really close friends, that kind of thing, because that is where that shift happens. And they know when that shift happens that there are potential repercussions from it, you know? And so that's where you have to kind of learn to be accepting of the fact that you're not going to make everybody happy.
You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea.
No. And it doesn't mean that you love them any less. It just means that you don't necessarily think the same way, and you're, you know, sharing that with the people that are around you.
And when I say practice disappointing people, you know, disappointment is not danger.
No.
I mean, it's not dangerous, right? It's a sign that you're honoring yourself.
Yeah.
Really. Because if everyone, I mean, think about it. If everyone's happy with you, you're probably abandoning yourself in some way, shape, or form.
They don't know you.
Yeah.
They truly don't know you. I mean, people that are super agreeable all the time, ultra accommodating, you know, not necessarily giving their opinion on things. I mean, I have someone in my life like that, and I have to literally get down and say, just tell me what it is that you want. Because it's more like, well, whatever you think is good, you know, whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you want to do. And I'm like, give me your fucking opinion. I want your opinion. I'm asking for it.
Right.
But, you know, the person I'm thinking of is very set in the good girl mentality, has been in that, will never probably be out of it.
Yeah.
It's just the way that person is. Yeah. And, you know, I've come to accept it, but at the same time, answer my question. You know?
Yeah.
Just makes me crazy.
Yeah. So
it's not you, Michelle.
Oh, okay. Whew, yeah. That's good.
No, it's not you.
No, I wouldn't.
That's definitely not you.
I wasn't thinking so. But, you know, just, I guess one way to maybe practice this is, you know, maybe giving just like a micro no, not this huge flat out, you know, I'm going to disappoint the world in somebody's life today, but, you know, at work or somewhere maybe where you typically are just the yes person and you're agreeing and trying to make everybody happy, maybe just try a little bit of a no at some point this week in some situation.
And then don't switch it around when they don't respond well.
Yeah. Yeah. And then stick to it.
Yeah.
Stick to it.
Yeah, these are all things that we talk about in our coaching program quite a bit. The idea of the way we put this, of being a good girl, you know, or, you know, kind of staying within the expectations that you have been raised with, is a hard thing to adjust your mindset to changing.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not really around people who are, comfortable with it. And that's a lot of why people don't switch or change or become more vocal about something, or they just kind of don't do anything because they don't want to make waves. They don't want to cause conflict or problems. And that's not what we're suggesting. We're not saying cause conflict and problems in your life. We're saying we want you to put yourself in a position where you feel more comfortable being yourself.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like, maybe your good girl shedding is that you're going to dye your hair a different color, like blue,
or because that's what you want to do.
Because that's what you want to do. Or maybe you're going to get a tattoo and you're like, people around you are mortified that you're going to do something like that. I know that sounds kind of funny, but it's true.
I think you really need to soul search some of those things, because those are things that you're talking about right now that others could perceive as a midlife crisis.
Yes, that's true.
Right? Oh God, she dyed her hair blue. Like, what is she thinking?
She's always wanted to do it, but she just never could before.
So really searching the things that are true to yourself,
right?
In regard to not abandoning what some of your priorities are that you know that you want, and then go after them.
Yep.
Little bit at a time, or however. I mean, think about the different things that this can happen, as far as, being the good girl and abandoning yourself is what I'm talking about, and how important it is to unlearn that. Because there's the categories that I'm thinking, one being pleasure. I mean, we've talked about that in some of our episodes, the pleasure factor. And let's, with regard to sex, we don't have to keep it high level, in a partnership or relationship. I think there's many times that women abandon what their desires are. They're being the good girl, prioritizing the other person, and want them to feel good. Now, there's a scale, there's weights, there's goods, there's bads, there's ups, there's down, all of those things that go along with that. But I guess the message here is examine that. If that's something that you do, maybe you need to do a micro no next time you're having a love sesh, right?
Or a micro, hey, how about doing something the other way? Or I would really like this.
A little, wink, wink,
nudge,
let's try this. Yeah.
Well, again, when you think about pleasure, you think about intimacy. It's like we were raised, this is not everybody, but a lot of people out there were raised with, a very conservative upbringing and background.
Yeah.
We're having, the thoughts about pleasure, the thoughts about, expressing what you would want were completely unheard of.
Yeah.
And even going into, your adult years. I mean, there's a lot of women out there now who have never told their partner what they want, or what they don't want. They just haven't had the conversation because it's uncomfortable. And it's like, if you want what you want, you kind of have to go out of your way to maybe express that in those circumstances. And, maybe your partner doesn't even know what you're talking about, but you
don't know what you don't know. They're not going to
show them a video or something so they can learn.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
But, pleasure, that's just,
one example.
One example of that. But there's rest. We need rest.
Yeah.
We sometimes don't do that because we're doing and trying to keep everybody else happy.
Yep.
Right? Being the good girl. Ambition. In our professions, we let others. We're being the good girl. We're not getting after it because we let others go before us, because we're keeping the peace. Creativity, same thing. There's like really almost every aspect of your life. There is a way that you probably have been or are abandoning yourself. And it's because of the good girls that we have within us as women. And now that we're midlife women.
If you abandon, then you're feeling like you're, not in a good place. Maybe.
Well, I think good girls, that's what we're talking about. They suppress those desires. Right. But once when you're a grown woman, take pride in owning that.
Yeah.
Own that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally 100% agree with you on that. Yeah. So some of this, like we talked about a second ago, goes directly into our coaching program. And we have a pretty intimate, small group because we want to be able to spend the quality time. And Michelle and I do these together. And we really have intake forms that give us details on the things that you're struggling with. And what we can do we basically will take that and form the material around what it is that you need.
Yeah.
And be able to work with you one-on-one. And it's pretty exciting, actually.
Yeah.
to see women come into their own or really just get another perspective on something, and you just see the lights go on. Mm-hmm. So if you're interested in learning more about that, that's right.
Right.
And do it with your eyebrows up. If you don't have Botox on your forehead, you can do that, right?
You can do that. Yeah. Tell them where it's at, Jules.
Yeah. We're on, we have the links in our bio. And then we also have it in the show notes. Or if you'd like to just reach out to us separately, you can DM the word spicy to us and we can give you more details on it there. Yeah, we're on all the social platforms.
Yep.
YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook.
Yep. And if you do get over to YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe.
And like.
We would love that.
And leave comments. We like comments.
Anyways, unlearn that good girl behavior, ladies. Yeah. And own that sophistication of coming into yourself.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. And until next week.
All right. Stay spicy.
Yeah. Drop the mentality. Stay spicy.
All right.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.